It's January, it's a new year, and maybe you're thinking about a new place to live and Cleveland's on the top of your list. Well, today's video is the ultimate guide to everything you need to know about Cleveland. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Living in Cleveland. I'm Patty sells CLE. I make videos about all things Northeast Ohio, Northwest Ohio, and even down south. You know the drill. If you don't want to miss any of my videos, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment. Tell me where you're coming from. Tell me why you're watching my videos. I love it. People are moving to Cleveland like crazy. I've helped dozens of people move to Cleveland, and hopefully I can help you too. Move to Cleveland, figure out where it is you want to live, where you're going to be happy, where you're going to fit in, where you're going to feel at home. So I'm going to cover 4 things in today's video. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a lengthy video, so you might want to pause, take some notes, grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab some coffee or another beverage, depending on what time of the day you're watching this. Okay, so 4 things I'm going to cover today. First thing, I'm going to talk about the major roads and intersections. So depending on where, like if you're moving here for a job, this might dictate where you're going to live. If you have a job on the east side, you're probably looking at east side properties, maybe not. Maybe after you see our highways, maybe you might decide, you know what, I really like the west side. It's not that bad of a commute. So we're going to cover all those major highways and intersections. Second thing, we're going to talk about the best areas to live in the Cleveland area. Now, I can't steer. I'll lose my license. I am a real estate agent, but I can go off of niche.com. You can look at niche.com too. You can form your own opinions. I'm going to go as far as what niche says. I'm only quoting. You can look up that information. But best areas to live, most popular areas where most of my clients feel most at home and where they want to settle down. I'm also going to talk about the pros and cons of these areas because no place is perfect. So the pros and cons, and then the 4th thing I'm going to cover is the cost of living in all of these areas, Cleveland overall, and specifically, the different areas around Cleveland. Okay, let's get started. Right away, I'm going to pop up a map. I wish these guys I follow, I love them. They started in Oregon, Portland, and now they have like all kinds of channels. And they have like 8 channels. So now they have this really cool like interactive whiteboard, and they had the map up and they're drawing circles on it. I don't have that. Maybe when I get 5-6 channels, I can get an interactive whiteboard. But for now, I'm going to put up a map of Cleveland, the Cleveland area, and you can just see the major highways. And I'm looking at my computer. And as you can see, to the north is the lake, which makes Clevelanders, it's easy to navigate. And anybody who's a lifelong Clevelander, it's so funny. I picked up my friend last night who is also a lifelong Clevelander, and we went to Topgolf, which is an independent, which is a little bit south. And she lives in Rocky River, which is north. And I put my little GPS in because I'm like, oh, how does it want me to go? Does it want me to go to 480? Does it want me to go to 90? Well, it had me go to 90. And my friend Tish goes, oh, go this way. I go, but that's south. And she goes, no, it's north. I go, Tish, the lake's that way. I'm like, she's like, oh my God, you're right. Almost all Clevelanders, when you've grown up, like you always know where the lake is. Something about growing up here. And from people who live in Chicago, they're always like, oh, the lake is to the right. Right, to the right. But in Cleveland, it's easy. The lake is north. There's nothing up there. So if you know your highways from driver's ed class, you know that all the highways in even numbers go east and west, and all the highways with odd numbers go north and south. And usually those are 2-digit numbers that are the main highways. And then 3-digit numbers are those, what do they call them? Byways. So anyways, we have 90 east and west. That is the main thoroughfare to get from the east side to the west side. So 90 goes all the way west. And then it turns into the Turnpike, which is 80, which also goes east and west. So you can hop on the Turnpike virtually anywhere in Cuyahoga County. And that'll take you east and west. You can take it out to New York, take it all the way out to who knows where. It goes forever. Or you need to hop onto 480, which is another one, which is a main drag. And you can see 480, how far it goes. So any of those southern ring suburbs, 480 is your best bet. And 480 connects you to everything. When I lived in North Olmsted for 15 years, 480 was my main drag because it was right around the corner. I was about 10 minutes from 90, but I had to go all the way. And if you can see, look at the map, 90 is pretty far north. So I would hop on 90 to go out west to Cedar Point, but 480, and I taught in Cleveland, I would hop on 480, take it to 71 and get off at Bel Air Road, and boom, I was there. So that's an easy way. 480 is a very, very popular highway. 71, you can see, goes north and south. And that's going to take you all the way down through Strongsville, North Royalton, and then into Medina County. And what else is there? Okay, there's 77. So this is a great, 77 will take you to Independence, and that will also take you all the way down. You can see 77 hits right into Independence, Brecksville, and then that'll take you down to the Akron area. So all very common highways. So the one thing I want to talk about, let's talk about traffic. Okay, and first of all, while we're looking at this map, I want you to look out at Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, University Heights. So the blue lines are our major highways. And if you notice out there, there's no blue lines. And last week I just did a Shaker Heights video, and my number one complaint about it is there's no easy way to get there. There's no blue lines, no highways. You have to get off at East 55th and drive out there. And the same goes for Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, Beach. Well, Beechwood's not, because you see the big blue line? That's 271, which is another huge highway to get you to all those east side suburbs. My grandma lived in Chesterland, and we would take 271, get off Mayfield Road, go up Mayfield Road, and she's in the country in Geauga County, and it was so easy. You hop off the highway, you're on Mayfield Road for 10 minutes, boom, you're at my grandma's house on 10 acres in beautiful Geauga County. So let's talk about traffic. Okay, say you live in Strongsville, you're taking 71. Okay, and I'm going to talk about, I have not been driving downtown since before the pandemic. So I'm not sure how the traffic is. I'm going to assume it's not as bad as it used to be. But before the pandemic, when everybody was working downtown, 71 was a pain in the neck. So I would drive, when I would be coming home from downtown, and I lived in North Olmsted, I would go 71, and then I would take a split to 480 right by the airport, and I would zoom over to North Olmsted, past the airport, get off at Clegg Road, boom, I'm home. But everybody else who's going further south to Strongsville, Brunswick, Medina, you had to stick on 71. And it's like this 2-lane narrow highway, and it would bottleneck. And I would just bypass. I'm like, see you guys. Don't you wish you lived closer to Fairview or North Olmsted or Westlake? So that was always a pain in the neck. And I remember my good friend Lisa, she was looking for a place on the west side, and she was thinking Strongsville. And I'm like, okay, you're going to come with me, and I'm going to show you this traffic. And she was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Is it like that anymore? I don't know. And maybe you're not working normal hours, or you're working for the hospital and it doesn't affect you. So just so you know, I'm talking about traffic. Now, okay, so that's if you're going south on 71. 90. Coming from the west side, okay? You're coming from Avon Lake, Westlake, River, whatever. You don't really hit any traffic, and I spent many years driving downtown. On an average day, you really don't hit any traffic till, I'm gonna say, probably West Boulevard, which is like West 100th Street. So here's how the streets work in Cleveland. Ontario is right in the middle of downtown. That's where Terminal Tower is, it's Public Square. Ontario stands for zero. It is the zero block. And everything moves east and west from Ontario. I think I might have mentioned it in a video before, but I thought it was pretty cool. I always thought that was wild. And I remember I told my husband this. He's not a Clevelander. He was like baffled. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So Ontario, zero. You go east, you have East 3rd or East 4th. East 4th is where all the hoppin' stuff is. You go west, West 3rd, West 6th. West 6th also has hoppin' stuff. So West 100. So you're 100 blocks west of Ontario, which is called West Boulevard. Your traffic's gonna start. And it just adds about 10, 15 minutes to your commute. So but it's, unless there's an accident, and always there's an accident, but that's not really too bad. So West 100th, and it just sort of slows down, and then you get off your exit and you're downtown. Okay, So we covered 90 from the west, 71 from the south. Now let's talk from the east. You're taking 90 east. You're taking 90 west from the east side. So it gets a little more congested, in my opinion. And it pretty much starts at like Eddy Road. But what's nice about coming from the east side, 90 hits, and if you can see from the east side, it's right on the water. You see Bracknell. So you just have those views of the water. You'll see people fishing off the pier. So yeah, but the traffic, it's a little more congested on the east side, I think. Because the west side, there's different ways of coming into Cleveland. We have what's called the Shoreway, which I never even talked about, which is that's that little red line that turns into, if you can see it, I'm gonna try and put an arrow on it, that will turn into 90 once you get past into downtown. So there's sort of different ways that you can get to downtown from the west side. But if you're coming from the east side suburbs, there's really only 90. So it does get pretty congested. But you have beautiful views of the water, and then you have what's called Dead Man's Curve. So that always gets blocked up. I mean, just that little corridor. And in rush hour, it doesn't matter if you're going east or west, just those few little exits right around like Cleveland State, like East 22nd, East 24th. And they're all like, you're underneath these bridges, and it's just, you hear like the bumps they have it because you really need to slow down. They don't call it Dead Man's Curve for nothing. So that always gets congested. So, but does it add a lot of time? I mean, compared to Chicago or other major cities, yeah, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Now, granted, there's always accidents. So if there's an accident, yeah, you're going to add some time. It's going to happen. But for the most part, probably about 10, 15 minutes add to your commute. Okay, so we covered coming from the east side. Now let's talk about if you work. So there's different major areas where you're probably going to get a job if you're in a business area. Or I'm going to talk about the major business areas of Cleveland. Obviously, we have downtown Cleveland. Then we have on the west side, southwest is Independence, where I was last night for Topgolf. Huge industry there, huge hotels, big businesses. That's probably why Topgolf is there. It's situated right on 480 and like 71, 77. And why Independence is so popular for business is because it's easily accessible from way out west, way out east, down south. People from Akron can easily access Independence. So that is a huge area for business. So you're going to see a lot of traffic. That 480 route, and that 480 route will also be the way you would get to, right out of college, I had a job in Beechwood, which is the other industrial area on the east side. Beechwood has a ton of corporations. It's headquarters for many corporations. And I would get to 480 right around Transportation Boulevard. There's this huge bridge. And every time I go over it, back in, I don't even know how long ago, there was this awful accident and this semi-trailer, and it just goes down below. I mean, this huge bridge, and the semi-trailer got in an accident, and the whole trailer, the cab went over the bridge, and it was just sort of dangling there. And then it dropped. Oh my God, every time I go over that bridge, I think about that and that poor man who was there, and they couldn't get him out, and the whole truck just went down. Ugh, awful. But that does get quite congested. I had to quit my job in Beechwood because the traffic stressed me out. I was living in West Park at the time, and I would hop on 480 right at Grayton Road in West Park, and I would head out east. I'd take 480 to 271, get off at Beechwood, and right around where Independence was, my stomach would start acting up. I would leave an hour early just because I couldn't handle the stress. It was awful, and it was every day. I would get to work, I'd be so stressed out, my stomach couldn't handle it, and I was still finishing up my bachelor's degree. And I'll never forget, I had to go from Beechwood to downtown, which is not that far, and there was this huge accident. The whole highway was closed, east and west. It was a summer day. It was so hot. I don't even think I had a lot of gas in my car left. So I had to turn off my car. People were outside. Like, they just got out of their car. This was before cell phones. People were sitting on the hoods of their car, just waiting. So, but that was one of those things. I was in my early 20s, and I remember. It's one of those once in a lifetime crashes that you remember. But for the most part, you're going to see some slowdowns. But let's be honest, this is not Chicago. So many people are working from home now, which is awesome. And I just did a video before Christmas on living downtown, and all these office buildings are empty, and they're turning them into apartments and condos. So that's a testament to the fact that not as many people are working downtown as they used to be, but many of us are. So that gives you a little overview of the traffic situation. And one overwhelming comment I get from the many people I've helped move to Cleveland is, wow, like, it looks like on a map it's going to take us 2 hours to get there, and then we hop in the car and we're there in 30 minutes. And that's typical. In fact, I've moved from North Olmsted, which is an inner ring Cuyahoga County suburb, and I'm now way out west at the border of Lorain County. I'm on the border of Lorain and Erie County. Vermilion's right next to me, which starts Erie County, and I'm downtown Cleveland in 30 minutes. So it's not that bad. I was in Shaker Heights for my video last week. I was in Shaker Heights in 45 minutes flat, which to go from all the way, and you can't even see it on this map, it ends at Avon Lake. So look at that, all the way from Avon Lake, all the way to Shaker Heights. That's even less. That's probably a half an hour to get there. So Cleveland is very accessible, very easy to get around to. Which is a blessing. And it also helps that we only have east, west, and south. We don't have anything up north, because that probably would add a whole different, element of traffic. So we only have 3 directions we're coming from. Okay, so we got that covered. Let's move on to the best areas to live in Cleveland. So I'm going to put this map back up again. And this map is really of just mainly Cuyahoga County. So you all know this is in every city. You have your downtown area, and then, usually you have there's some rough neighborhoods. We have some trendy neighborhoods like Ohio City, Tremont, Gordon Square, which is like West 65th on the west side. There's a couple of areas on the east side, and I'm going to do a video on all the different Cleveland neighborhoods. Like Collinwood area has a little bottle. It's like an artsy field. Got the Beachland Ballroom, great place to catch a concert. And then when you move out of the city, let's not forget about West Park, where I grew up. Highly underrated. I need to do another one. In fact, I'm probably going to do that very, very soon, because I've only done 1 or 2 West Park videos. And if you want to stay in the city of Cleveland but want that suburb feel, West Park just checks off all the boxes. Okay, so we move out of Cleveland. Now we have our inner ring suburbs. This is going to be Lakewood, Rocky River, Westlake, North Olmsted, Fairview, Bay Village, Strongsville. North Railton's getting a little bit further out there. Anything in Cuyahoga County, I'm going to call your inner ring suburb. On the east side, you're going to have East Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, University Heights, South Euclid, Garfield Heights, Maple Heights, Bedford. Oh, let's talk about Parma down south. Parma, Seven Hills, Independence. So these are all your inner ring Cuyahoga County suburbs. I've done videos on pretty much every single one of them. So if you're interested in one of them, check my library. And if I don't have one and you're interested, leave me a comment. Hey, make a video on this suburb. I want to hear about it. So best areas to live. It's up to you. I can tell you what's most popular. Just from people who've reached out to me and they're looking to live in the Cleveland area. So for my East Siders, the people who they have jobs out there, they just feel at home out there. And I'm going to tell you, it's a different vibe on the East Side than it is on the West Side. I think I told you in my Shaker Heights video, I'm obsessed with Shaker Heights. My daughter's ready to move out there. And I saw my parents over the weekend. We were at my brother's house for my nephew's birthday. And my mom grew up on the East Side. She's the one that grew up in Chesterland and Willoughby Hills, I think, before that. And we were talking to her about Shaker Heights because it's her sister's daughter, my cousin, who lives there. And my daughter was dog sitting. And my daughter, Katie, and I like, Mom, we love Shaker Heights. We want to live there. And my mom, who is an East Side native, was like, oh, you want to live on the East Side? Why? So that's how divided it is. The East Side and the West Side. Cleveland Magazine, the Plain Deal, they've written numerous articles about the East Side, West Side divide all going back, I don't even know how long. It's a city joke. So, best areas to live. I can't dictate where you're going to live. I can only tell you what's most popular. The people that are moving to Cleveland. On the east side, Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights is very, very popular. Beechwood is also popular. I would also look at Lyndhurst. Solon is very popular. Let's see what else. Pepper Pike. Oh, all those areas. Very, very nice on the east side. And if I'm missing one, don't hate me. I'm literally just talking. And if you hear my dogs, they're interrupting me. I'm just looking at the map and seeing what pops out of me. So let's start going south now. Independence is not that popular. I have friends that live in Independence. They love it. It's kind of one of those quirky cities. It's so cheap. The lowest tax rate, property taxes in all of Cuyahoga County, Independence. The most expensive, University Heights, Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, over 4%. Independence, less than 2%, half. Because there's so much industry there. It's like Beechwood. They have really low taxes too. Industry, corporations, giving that city, pumping money into that city, which the residents get a break from. But Independence is cool. They have great schools. You're close to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which we have, which is amazing. Strongsville's popular. Parma is getting, Parma used to be a joke. Back in the 70s, we like, oh my gosh, look at the sandals and white knee highs that old guy's wearing and the pink flamingos in the yard. It's been a joke of comedians on TV forever, but not so much anymore. It's very ethnic. They've got a Polish village. They've got a Ukrainian village, I don't know, Slovak, whatever. They got it all. So, pierogies they have there, but it's also Ridge Road. What else is another? I'm drawing a blank. Parma, Ridge Road. I can't think. I'm drawing a blank. But you have bars, restaurants. You could do like a whole bar crawl and only be on one street. Parma is a great spot. And when I think of Parma, I think of like brick bungalows. So smaller homes. Close to downtown, you're right on that 480 stretch, so it's easy to get to. So those are getting to be a little bit more popular. Seven Hills is at Parma Schools, a little more sprawling. My friend Walter lives in Seven Hills with his mom Leisha, and they have this beautiful, I just think of these sprawling ranches. Absolutely beautiful. You have larger lots, so also popular. Brook Park, Middleburg Heights is a little more, I don't know, kind of class it with Parma. It's a little more working class. I think of those areas like Brook Park, like smaller ranches, close to West Park area, West 150th, right on that 480 area. Not as popular as like Shaker Heights with those big, beautiful homes. Berea, Olmsted Falls, if you're going out a little bit further, which Olmsted Falls is the last suburb before you hit Lorain County and Medina County. Also has newer construction. Heading west, we have Lakewood, very popular. River, of course. River and Beechwood, east side, west side, go back and forth as the #1 suburb in Cleveland Magazine. Last year it was Rocky River. This year it's Beechwood, and there's many reasons why. Rocky River is super, super popular. I'm trying to help my cousin Molly find a place to live in Rocky River right now, and we're having a tough time because things are selling like hotcakes. And in this market, it's slowed down a little bit. Houses are staying on the market for a little bit longer. Not the case in Rocky River. It just always sells. Your house always goes up in value. The whatever the market is has virtually never affected the Rocky River market. So very popular, Rocky River, low taxes. Lakewood has some higher taxes. So a lot of people do stay away from Rocky River, although all the young kids want to rent in Lakewood. That's where my kids live. So if you are thinking about buying a multifamily and want to rent it out, if you could get into that Lakewood market, I would highly, or if you're a first-time home buyer, in fact, I'm trying to convince my cousin Molly and my own children, you need to buy a double for your first property. Rent out the upstairs, live downstairs, have that other tenant pay for most of your mortgage, and then when you're ready to get married, start a family, rent out the bottom unit and have some income coming in, and then buy your big house. Um, it's falling on deaf ears right now. But rentals, the huge rental area is Lakewood, but also very walkable. My mom lives in Lakewood. My aunt and uncle live in Lakewood. My dad lived in Lakewood before he passed away. Whole family lives in Lakewood. Great area. You can walk places. My cousins live in Lakewood. It's very walkable. From any street, you can walk to the bus station. So when I actually lived there in high school, and I would take the bus to downtown for my summer job, and I would walk to the top of the street to Detroit, hop on the bus, and it took me right downtown, right where I needed to go. So very popular suburb is Lakewood. So then we going west on 90, you have Bay Village, which again, as you go further west, Bay Village can be pretty expensive. It's highly sought after. It's right on the water. I mean, millions of dollars. Same with Westlake. Westlake is very affordable, but also has some of the most expensive homes in Cuyahoga County. I get a Cleveland magazine email, and just last week, it had 4 of the most expensive property transfers in the month of December, over $1 million. They were all in Westlake. So, but you can also find a house. There's a couple of areas that, family friendly. You can find a beautiful home for under $400,000. There's this cute little area. We have friends that live there, little ranches, but nice wooded lots right off Center Ridge Road, right by Crocker Park, all the shopping, $200,000. Condos in Westlake. It's a very popular suburb. And then that moves into, Westlake goes into Bay Village. There's North Olmsted, not so popular. I've not had one person reach out to me and say, hey, I really want to live in North Olmsted, which is kind of a bummer. And I'm probably going to do another North Olmsted video because that's where I raised my kids. North Olmsted was probably started getting built up in the late 60s, 70s. So most of the homes there are older ranch, or not ranches, split levels. The house I lived in was a split level. A lot of people don't like that split level design. I loved it. I loved going up a couple stairs, down a couple stairs. Some of them are huge. North Olmsted schools are just fine. Yes, they're rated a C, but so are Shaker schools. It's diverse. It's close to 480. Our favorite restaurant is Fatheads. They have the best wings ever. If you like craft brew, amazing. Anyways, not so popular. Fairview Park, another great suburb. My best friend Mary lives there. Good school, small district, close to everything. Not so popular. Obviously, Westlake, River, Lakewood. Those are the 3 top ones. And then down south, Strongsville's kind of popular. And then those east side, Cleveland Heights, University Heights, Shaker Heights. Those are the most popular. Not the best areas, most popular. These are people who've done their research. They like the school systems, whatever. So that is all about, I think I did cover pros and cons too about some of them. So those are all Cuyahoga County. And what I want to talk about, and I'm going to flip the map. Hold on, I'm going to flip the map here. So this one is all of Cleveland. And you can see, this is the whole northern part of Cleveland, all the way west to, you can see Michigan, you see Toledo. We're about 2 hours to Toledo. You can see up there that Port Clinton area. You see how close we are to Canada. You can see Kelly's Island, Put-in Bay. Those are those islands that I've done several videos on. We have Sandusky, which is where Cedar Point is. I've done videos on Cedar Point. So you can see how close Cleveland is. Cleveland to Sandusky is an hour away. So pretty amazing. So Toledo's on that I-75 area. Boom, you're in Detroit, 2.5 hours. A lot of people, they'll drive up to Detroit if they're flying out somewhere and fly out of Detroit. We're about 6 hours from Chicago because you just take 80 and boom, it'll take you right into Chicago. Heading out east, you can see we're only about 2 hours to Pittsburgh. So Geneva, I did a video last summer, Geneva on the Lake, which is way out there, almost close to Pennsylvania, but it's not that far. It was like an hour and a half to get out there, and Geneva on the Lake is one of my favorite places in the world. Well, in Ohio, not in the world. I don't know. I haven't been all over the world, so who knows? 71, you take 71 south, boom, it dumps you right into Columbus. Less than 2 hours, you're in Columbus. And I am not a Columbus agent. I am a Cleveland agent, but Clevelanders go to Columbus. There's a ton of shopping there. Your IKEA is there. There's a Tanger outlet, which is there, but it's a day trip. We go for the day all the time. Like, hey, we want to go to the outlets. Let's drive down there, spend a couple hours, and then we're back. So that is the whole highway situation. So now I want to talk about, because it's so quick to get to these places, I'm going to switch maps again. And these are the counties surrounding the Cleveland area. And you can see the county that Cleveland in is called Cuyahoga. People ask me all the time, how the heck do you pronounce that? It is Cuyahoga. So those are those inner ring suburbs. Shaker Heights is in Cuyahoga. Westlake's in Cuyahoga, Bay Village, down to Independence, Strongsville, North Royalton, all those, Cuyahoga County. But many people live in the outskirts. And if you're looking for a cost of living and you want to pay less in property taxes, the rule of thumb is get out of Cuyahoga County. So I'm a West Sider. I'm going to start with the West Side, Lorain County. So many people back in the mid to late 90s, because I was just starting my family. All of my friends from college were starting families, and they all wanted to build new homes. And Avon was just starting to boom. And I can't tell you how many of my friends built brand new homes in Avon. And my good friend Mary, not my best friend Mary, my other good friend Mary, Mary Lavelle, she was like, she grew up, we went to Magnificat together, and she grew up in Avon Lake, and she was like, Patty, you could buy a house out in Avon, brand new, for exactly what you're going to pay for that house in North Olmsted. And because I was born and raised in Cleveland, I was like, oh my God, I can't live that far. Because we would have to go pick her up in Avon Lake in high school. I'm like, oh my God, Mary, you live in the moon. She doesn't. And I didn't. I stayed in North Olmsted, I stayed in Cuyahoga County, whatever. But Avon is so popular. New developments. You're not going to find neighborhoods, really. There's like an older area of Avon. You have some walkable neighborhoods, but you're going to see big, huge developments. Hyde Park, Bentley Park, Windermere, just what, Avalon. Is that even in Avon? I don't even know. That might be in North Ridgeville. But big developments. You're in your development. That's where you walk around. You're going to get in your car. You're going to go to Costco. I was just there yesterday in Avon Commons. It's right off 90. Super, super popular. Tax rates are lower. So, but you're right next door to Westlake. So living in Avon, super easy to be downtown. Super, super popular. Avon Lake is probably my number 1 and 2 suburbs in Lorain County that people want to move to because it's close to Cleveland. I have yet to convince anybody to move where I live, which is the Amherst, Lorain area. And I love downtown Amherst. It's so cute. And it adds only about 10 minutes to the drive because it's just all highway. And I was at Topgolf last night. I picked up my friends, my good friend Tish, and we met our other 2 good friends from North Olmsted. All of our kids grew up in North Olmsted together. And I dropped her back off in River, and I was home in 20 minutes to Lorain. So, but whatever. I've yet to convince anybody. But I'm just telling you what's been popular in my experience. Avon Lake, very, very popular. We also have Sheffield, which is on the water, Elyria. What else is out that way? There's Country Years. If you want rural, that's in Lorain County. So that's your Lorain County. And then if you keep going, and like I said, I'm right on the edge of Lorain County. Right past me is Erie County, and that's Vermilion. And I am going to do a video. And Vermilion's a cute little lake town. That's where I taught in Cleveland for 10 years, and then I owned a tutoring company for 6 years, and then after that, I did teach in Vermilion for about 4 years, which I realized I just needed to get out of teaching, and real estate is now my gig, and I love it. But Vermilion's this cute little lake town, and I want to do a video of what it looks like in the winter, because it's such a hot spot in the summertime, but I wanted to visit all these cute little lake towns, because we're on the lake, and we do have some lake towns, and I want to video on what they look like in the wintertime, and they're still bustling and thriving, and people live there and people love it. So even people in Erie County don't really think twice about driving downtown because it's not that far. And also Sandusky, which is in Erie County, and that's the hub of Erie County is Sandusky. A lot of people do work in the Sandusky area, and living in Vermilion, I'm in a networking group. I have to be in Sandusky every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. I'm there in 20-25 minutes, so not that far at all. I do a lot of shopping in Sandusky. Obviously, that's where Cedar Point is. We go there quite a bit. So these are these outer counties that really still are considered part of Cleveland. And as you're going down, you have Huron County, which I think that's like Norwalk area. I don't know what. I've been in Norwalk a bunch of times, but I don't really consider that a suburb of Cleveland, but I would imagine that Norwalk people do consider themselves a suburb of Cleveland. I have a teammate, Tyler. He's from Norwalk. That's his specialty. So if you're looking to move to that Norwalk area, I'm probably going to have you talk to Tyler. He knows all those areas. But cuter areas like Milan, Ohio, I did one on that. Love Milan. I sold a couple houses in Milan area. It's like it's where Thomas Edison was born. Super cute if you want that small town feeling, but you still want to be pretty close to the Cleveland area or Sandusky. That's a good option for you. All right, so we covered Lorain County, Erie County, Huron County. Now let's check out Medina County. Medina is its own thriving community. I have done a video on Medina. It's got this town square, which is beautiful. Awesome restaurants, breweries, shops, so cool. Also big developments. It's got a lot of parks. The schools are amazing. So anywhere around that Medina County is very, very popular. It's a little bit out of the way, but also you hop on 71. Now Medina proper, I feel like it's kind of a pain in the neck to get to the square, because you got to take, for me, it takes me an hour from where I live to get to Medina Square. And when I was with a different brokerage, the office was in Medina Square, and I was like, can you just do a Zoom call? Because it's a whole day. It takes me an hour to get there for an hour meeting and then an hour to drive home. And that's 3 hours out of my day. So from where I live, it's a pain in the neck because you get off the highway and you still have to drive all the way down some road to get to the square. Like, it's not right off the highway. So that's my only beef about Medina. Okay, so then we have Summit and Portage counties. Those still, most of those people kind of, my opinion, they kind of go to the Akron area, but also not too far from Cleveland. And then we have Geauga and Lake County. Geauga, I just did a bunch of videos on Chesterland, Chardon. Very rural out there. You have a lot of Amish people living out that way, but also not far. Like I said, my grandma, boom, you take 271, get off Mayfield Road, 10 minutes down the street, you're on 10 acres of beautiful land in Geauga County. And then Lake County, Mentor on the lake. I think Mentor is Cuyahoga County, but past that, it's Lake County. Is it? I don't know. I got to look it up. I should probably do my research before I do this. But also very, very close. So there you go. Those are the popular areas. So don't feel like if you're moving to Cleveland, you have to be in this inner ring suburbs because you're going to be driving forever. You're really not. Lorain, Lake, Geauga is so, depending on where you're going to be working, but to get downtown, it's so easy to get to. So don't think that, gosh, living out of the county is going to really hinder your commute. It's really not. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about was cost of living. So I did talk about property taxes. Highest in Cuyahoga County, lowest in Cuyahoga County, Independence, highest Shaker, University Heights, Cleveland Heights. Rule of thumb is when you get out of Cuyahoga County, the tax rates go down. What are some expensive areas to live in? Well, I think I talked about Bay Village. Bay Village is expensive. There's no real industry. Like when I was moving from West Park, I had 3 little kids and we needed a bigger house, but I wanted to live in Bay Village. Who doesn't? The schools are amazing. We could afford the exact same house, a cute little bungalow. It was adorable. A little bungalow, 2 teeny-weeny bedrooms downstairs and a big room upstairs for the same price that I got a 2,000 square foot huge split level in North Olmsted. So that's why we chose North Olmsted, because I needed space. I had 3 little kids and you know, a couple years later we had a 4th kid. So we needed the space, and North Olmsted had decent schools and I could just afford a bigger house. So Bay Village can be pretty pricey. I already talked about Westlake. You have rich, and just, $250,000 colonial. Out east, Shaker, the homes, you're gonna be like, wow, this is so nice. It's only $230,000. Don't forget, you got to figure in those property taxes. University Heights has beautiful places. I sold a home. In fact, it was the couple that bought my grandma's house in Geauga County. I sold their house in University Heights. And my middle daughter was with me when we met the photographer there. And my daughter was like, why are they selling? This house is beautiful. And then when I told her what we sold it for, and she's like, that's it? I'm like, yeah, because the taxes are so high out here. Because if this house was in Rocky River, it would have been about $75,000 more. So keep that in mind. And I just did that Shaker video. It's not so cheap to live in Shaker. The cost of living is like, the housing is like 11% higher than the national average. So keep that in mind. Geauga County, you can get some deals in Geauga. The couple that bought my grandparents' house, now granted, the house was so old, like nobody had done work on that house in years, and it needed a ton, and they got 8 acres, I think it used to be 10, but they'd sold off 2, so like 8 acres, they got for like $250,000, like 8 acres, beautiful, right, in a really nice area of Geauga County. So it depends on the area, it depends on the property taxes, but overall, Cleveland, you know, our gas prices, I don't know what it is nationally, I have to look it up. I just paid $3.19, I think, for gas, but it was in the 2s last week. I have an electric car, I don't buy gas often. But other than that, we're pretty low on the cost of living area. You know, we go out quite a bit, but we look at what's for happy hour. We're going to see Hamilton tonight with my middle daughter, Erin, and she's just texting me, hey, can we go to Il Rione, which is our favorite pizza spot on West 65th Street. Super inexpensive. But I don't even know why I was talking about that. Cost of living, maybe. Oh, going out to eat. We pick out who has the best happy hour, and we're constantly texting, okay, who's got the best Thursday happy hour? Who's got the best Wednesday happy hour? Il Rione doesn't have any happy hour, but their pizza's well worth it. And I'm going to be cheating a little bit on my January diet because I can't pass that up. So I hope this was a very long video. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. Better yet, my contact info is below. Send me an email or call and leave a message. Send me a text, anything. I am here to help you. I've helped dozens of people move to the area. I am a relocation specialist. If you're not available to come to Cleveland and look at properties, I can do that for you. I will, get you on a Zoom call. We can talk about what you're looking for. And then when I go out and look at properties, I'll either FaceTime you or send you a video of the property, or usually both, so that you have that video you can refer back to. But I'm your man on the ground. Hey, this is a great looking property, but oh, it smells like somebody died in here. We probably want to back out of here. These pictures are not a true representation. These are the things I do for my clients just to help your transition to Cleveland go smoothly. Help you with your utilities, whatever it needs. I have an empty condo that I actually have a very beloved client coming to Cleveland today. She moved out of her house in Canada, is going to be staying in my condo until they close on their house. So I even do that. I have something available for you to rent if you need some temporary housing. And, whatever it is to make your transition to Cleveland go smoothly. I love this town. I can't get enough of it, which is so funny because when growing up, I absolutely hated living in Cleveland. I was so embarrassed. And now I'm just so proud of this city and everything it's become. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.